We're coming at you live from the Element Wealth studio. It's the first full week of February, second month of the year, rocking right along. We welcome to the program now Dr. Al Rankins, the Commissioner of the Institutions of Higher Learning. Dr. Rankins, good to have you in.
Well, it's great to be here, Gerard. I appreciate the opportunity.
Yes, sir. So I've enjoyed seeing you at the Capitol. I know that you, of course, often have business with the members of the legislature and statewide leaders with respect to what is a huge and important part of our state, and that is our colleges, our public colleges and universities. But recently, you just told me off the air something that I totally agree with, which is that it is important for these institutions to be financially stable. And so we have a great article that was published on our website that you wrote concerning the financial stability of Mississippi's universities and colleges, public and of higher learning, and they're in good shape. You got a really great bond rating, so being in positive and stable financial condition really positions the schools for the future.
That's absolutely correct, Gerard. Our credit profile reflects strong financial oversight from the IHL Board of Trustees. Our significant role as a system in providing higher education to the citizens here of the state. We educate over 70,000 students. And it's also a reflection of the scale of the combined strength of 8 universities and our academic medical center located here in Jackson.
Yeah. And something else we've seen, Dr. Rankins, is that many of these universities are enjoying growth and enrollment. And that's a bit unusual. There's a trend across the country where we're seeing a decline in enrollment. And many universities, even some of the household names, as you know, are struggling financially as a result of that. So what are we doing here in Mississippi?
Well, I think our universities provide a great value. We have a lot of interest with students here in the state of Mississippi. We have a lot of interest from students coming from other states who see the value that our universities provide. We're very affordable. We provide a quality education, and I think, where we sit financially is a reflection of the value I think students see in the education and the services we provide.
Yeah. So one of the things that you well know that could really get a university in trouble is just taking on too much debt from a financial perspective. And you highlight in your article that the board and the universities have really been good stewards of the balance sheets and, in fact, have paid off a significant amount of debt going back to 2016. Your article states $119 million.
Yeah, we pay a lot of attention to the market and credit ratings, and when we see the right opportunity, we encourage our universities to look at their long-term debt and to refinance where they can realize the cost savings.
Yeah. And so you've also seen some savings just through consolidation of certain services that are procured, such as insurance. You talk about that in the article as well. Tell us what's going on there.
Yes, Gerard. Well, the value of being a system, we can find efficiencies. And prior to the board taking the action that you mentioned, each individual university had their own insurance policies paying their own premiums. And the board decided to combine all of those policies under one and realized a tremendous cost savings in the market of about $120 million.
Wow. So just combining their purchasing power essentially just to allow the universities to get just a better deal. On this procurement.
Yeah, that savings, let me correct, was about $105 million. And not only did we receive a big cost savings, but it allowed the universities to actually insure more buildings. Because prior to that point, some of the buildings, based on their age, they just couldn't afford to insure. But not only did we receive a savings, we also were able to insure more buildings on our campuses.
Wow. So you improve coverage and reduce premiums. That's best of both worlds right there. So you told me offline the IHL board meets, there are 12 members. Is that right?
12 members on the IHL board. They are volunteer members of the board. Contrary to popular belief, they don't get paid a big salary to serve. They volunteer. They're lay members. They come from very diverse backgrounds. We have business owners. We have venture capitalists like you, Gerard, and doctors, lawyers. So because of their diverse backgrounds, they each provide a niche and a skill set that help our universities as we tackle these heavy issues.
Just different perspectives, really a cross-section. I've reviewed the board as well, and it looks like a great group, all appointed by the governor, right, for 9 years, I think. Is that right? They're
appointed by the governor. They serve 9-year terms. Of course, they have to be confirmed by the Senate.
Yeah. As do all appointments.
Yes.
Same process. Mm-hmm. So they really do take a vested interest in ensuring that these institutions are financially stable and that they also have all the assets and resources they need to thrive, to attract students, and to really produce great graduates.
Well, they take their responsibilities in governing our universities very seriously. We spend a lot of time looking at numbers, looking at the finances, because, we get part of our funding from the taxpayers of the state of Mississippi, and we have a responsibility to be good stewards of the taxpayers' dollars.
Yeah.
And that means put them to good use and not mismanaging those funds and keeping our universities on sound financial footing.
Yeah. And, of course, the universities also, virtually all of them have some sort of campaigns where they're looking to raise private funds as well that service the university. That's a big part of university and ecosystem.
The support that our universities receive from alumni and friends of university is very critical to their operation and them being able to be successful.
Yeah,
it's very critical. Fundraising is a big part of the responsibilities of our chancellor and president. So. It's very important for our universities, and we're thankful for the support that we receive.
Yeah, and there are lots of out-of-state foundations and interests as well that provide grants to universities for various purposes. That's an important part of the ecosystem, of certainly the financial ecosystem.
Yes, Gerard, it is. Competitive grants that our faculty go after to help support research and to help support various services we offer on our campus is very important to our operation as well.
Yeah, UMC in particular, right? School of Education, but you've got just a huge research component of UMC that relies quite a bit on private funding to conduct research.
UMC represents about 1/3 of the operating revenue for the entire system, so it's very important. That's a high exposure area for us. So our board pays a lot of attention to the operations of the medical center because it's such a big piece of our system. And again, patient revenue is a big one for the medical center, but those funds that you mentioned coming in from other sources to help the operations are also very important as well.
A huge employer as well is UMC. Maybe the second largest in the state, I believe.
Very huge employer, very important for the state, very important for the Metro Jackson area in what they provide, not only from a healthcare perspective, but from an economic development perspective as well.
Yeah. And a sprawling campus. Looks like they're always adding. And, of course, in the last couple of decades, the children's wing, the children's hospital has been just a remarkable addition to the UMMC system.
We have some great individuals in the state that recognize the value of what the children's hospital provide for our state. raised a lot of money to help support what they do, and we're so appreciative for that support and the growth that we've seen at the medical center. If you're not growing, you're not moving.
Yeah,
so very proud of our medical center.
If you can hang around, want to see, get your thoughts on this name change situation up there at MUW.
Sure.
Coming right back with Dr. Al Rankins, the Commissioner of the Mississippi Institutions of Higher Learning. Stay with us. Studio, we're visiting with Dr. Al Rankins, the Commissioner of the Mississippi Institutions of Higher Learning. So, Dr. Rankins, something that has been all over the news, I guess, the last couple of months is this name change for the Mississippi University for Women up in the Columbus, Mississippi area. And, of course, there was a name that was introduced that really wasn't received very positively, and so they've kind of gone back to the drawing board. But you were just explaining to me sort of the process of actually affecting a name change. Can you describe that for the audience?
Sure, Gerard. Well, the ultimate authority to change the name at MUW or any of our universities rests with the legislature.
Okay.
So if, the university and its constituents and family can coalesce around a name, that ultimately would have to be placed into a bill and taken up by the legislature to, in effect, have a name change.
Okay. So this authority does not rest with the board of IHL. That's the main thing.
No, it rests with the legislature.
Okay. The board, do they kind of have a position one way or another on a new name or the name change in general?
Well, Gerard, the board took the position of supporting the university's effort to explore a name change,
okay,
but did not take any action regarding any specific name.
Okay, so they haven't really stated a position on a specific name.
No.
Really more just in general, generically, they support the idea of exploring a possible name change.
Correct.
Okay. And so, but whatever happens, so would the university then submit that to the legislature, or would it require someone in the legislature taking that to the process of creating a bill, a measure to do that?
It would require, based on whatever name the university lands on, it's going to take a member to sponsor a bill.
Just like any other legislation.
Yes.
Yeah, same process.
Same process.
Yeah. And then that would have to pass both houses and get, I assume, signed by the governor.
Correct.
Okay. Well, we'll see what happens. I mean, at this point, there's some alternative names that are different from the very first name that was suggested, proposed by the university as a replacement to the current name.
Correct.
And some of those have kind of been, I guess, released out in the public square, and there are people that have mixed feelings about that, I think it's fair to say.
Well,
we'll see where that lands.
Yeah, I think it's fair that, it was a rocky rollout.
Yeah.
But the university is working hard trying to get everything back in the road, and we'll just have to see what happens, Gerard.
Human nature, as you know, Dr. Rankins, is people just are resistant to change. And so if you're going to change, it needs to be something that people say, yeah, that improves. That makes it better.
Well, I'll say that the alumni of our universities, they're very supportive, they're very passionate, and they have their opinions. And, we'll just have to see what ultimately happens.
Okay, which they're obviously entitled to.
Yes.
So we talked about just the great financial condition overall of the university community in the state of Mississippi. Delta State is one that has certainly been struggling financially and has seen a decline in enrollment. A new president has been on board for now less than a year, I believe, right? Dr. Ennis?
Yes.
And we interviewed him right after he came on board, and gosh, he's energetic, and he's committed to a turnaround there and getting the university back on sound financial ground. Is there anything to report there?
Not a whole lot to report. He gave a lot of information when he was on the show a little while ago.
Yeah.
It's just going to take some time. The university didn't get in the position they're in now overnight, and they're not going to get out overnight. It's going to take time. So President Ennis, he's going to have to put some things in place to right the ship and sustain that. over several fiscal years. But
Now, this is an area, Dr. Rankins, where the board could provide some input and perspective and guidance as he undertakes this journey to kind of get the ship back on track here. Mm-hmm. Is that true? The board is advising him in that capacity?
Oh, yes. We've had a lot of conversations with Dr. Ennis and, my staff in my office. We evaluate the financial position of all of our universities annually.
Okay. And
I'll follow up with the chancellor and the presidents about some specific goals moving into the next fiscal year. So I'm excited about the opportunity for Delta State and the leadership that Dr. Ennis will provide in moving them forward.
So given that the universities, Dr. Rankins, receive public money, state public monies, they are subject to an audit by the state auditor, correct?
Yeah, we have to undergo an annual audit every year that we submit, and that's a routine process for us.
Sure. Is there an additional audit performed by an external private public accounting firm, or are they just required to be audited by the state auditor?
We're required to have an annual audit. We utilize an external audit firm to conduct those audits, and we submit that information to the state auditor.
Okay, you submit that. So yes. The state auditor doesn't actually perform the audit,
right?
And which is typical for some other public sector entities in the state as well.
Right.
But they are required to provide their audit, their full audit package, their report to the state auditor.
That's correct.
For review.
That's correct.
Okay. So if the state auditor sees anything, has any questions, they would obviously refer those to the third-party auditor, the external auditor.
That's right.
Okay. And do they present those audit reports to the board or to university management? How does that work? You said your staff reviews them when they come in.
Yeah, well, it's presented to our board, and it's a public document.
Okay.
It's posted on our website, so the taxpayers can review it at their perusal, and it's a public document.
Okay. And I honestly haven't heard anything, from the public as far as having any concerns about those audits. So they seem to have been clean and received without any talk, if you will. You'd know if that weren't the case because there's a tendency to speak up if they feel like that there's a need to do so. But okay, so I understand that process now. And then you've got you said 9-year terms. It used to be 12 years, did it not? That changed somewhere along the line.
Yeah, it
for the
changed,
members of the board.
Yeah, it changed from 12, and I think it scaled down from 12 to 11, and then down to currently 9.
Okay. So, and Mississippi is a bit unique, is it not, Dr. Rankins, in that we have one central board that is responsible for oversight and governance for all of our institutions. In many states, each public institution has its own body, its own board.
Yeah, we are a little unique here in the state of Mississippi, where we have one governing board that governs all 8 public universities. That's correct.
Responsible for all of them.
Yes.
And a point you made earlier that I bet a lot of folks in Mississippi don't know is that when you look at just funding and revenue and the financial picture, how big UMMC is as a component of the overall university community from a financial perspective. You said about a third, right?
About a third of our operating revenue is generated at the medical center, so it's a huge part, and we have to pay a lot of attention to what goes on at the medical center because it affects the overall financial picture of the whole system. Yeah,
I mean it's a statewide impact what goes on there.
Yeah,
and it's a big operation.
Yeah,
a lot of employees, and you've got the clinical side, you've got the research element, and then you've got the education side as well.
Yes, and we have to pay attention to all because they're all vitally important to our state. One thing I did want to mention, Gerard, our system would not enjoy the credit rating we currently have without the strong support that we received from Governor Reeves, Lieutenant Governor Holzman, Speaker White, and also our leaders both on the House and Senate side in appropriations and in finance, in the Senate and Ways and Means in the House, as well as universities and colleges. So we've got some good leadership in the legislature that we work with, and we appreciate their support. And we wouldn't be able to do the things that we do and have such a strong credit rating without that support.
I appreciate you pointing that out, and I agree with you wholeheartedly. The Mississippi's blessed with a fantastic complement, world-class institutions of higher learning, and we want to keep that going, and we want to keep making them better and seeing them grow, and it's really good news to see that they're in such good financial shape. So my compliments to you, Dr. Rankins, and to the board and to all those involved in operating and managing these universities. It's a big task. Appreciate it.
Well, thank you, Gerard. We've got some good leaders at our universities who work hard to provide our students with a quality education at an affordable price, so we appreciate it.
Appreciate you coming in. We're coming right back, folks.